Summer toys, right? Summer toys? Yeah. You like summer toys, right?
I thought we were doing adult toys. I brought way different stuff.
Well, with that said, we are talking summer toys today on episode 2 of Culture Junkies. This is our first in-person podcast ever, so I feel like this would be like a sort of different dynamic.
Yeah, change of pace a little bit.
Yeah, something different and something I kind of wanted to do anyway, sort of something I had in my head to hopefully be able to do at some point, and the opportunity kind of arose to do it, so.
Yeah, so logistically we're going to give it a try to see what's going to work, what's not going to work. But we got a good start, it looks like.
Yeah. So we're talking about summer toys, different things that we did in the summer, all that cool outdoorsy sort of stuff that we grew up doing. I mean, that, a lot of kids don't even do now.
Yeah, contrary to popular belief, we actually left the house sometimes. We weren't always playing video games. Sometimes we were actually outside. I know growing up, it was kind of like a rule that we had to be outside if it was nice out,
Yes.
and especially if it was the summer. I don't know if it was a rule because it got us outside to play.
Our parents getting rid of us.
Or, basically our parents just getting us out of the house because they didn't want to take us. They're just basically waiting for school to start.
Yeah.
But yeah, the summertime, we spent a ton of time outside. And if it was nice out, we had to, all these activities, we had to find something to do.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you brought up, the video game aspect. That, when I think back, there was actually kind of so little time playing games. You know what I mean? Most of the time, after school, we were got home, immediately wanted to throw our stuff down, at least for me. Get on our bikes, head to the park, and go do something.
Yeah. Video games for us was pretty much when it was either one winter time.
Yeah.
Or if it was in the summertime when we were all together, it was when it was raining.
Yeah.
It was one of those, you can do it while it's raining, but when it's nice out, it's time to get outside.
Yeah, that's why they have that term, rainy day gaming. Yeah, I mean, it was always that case for me. And video games could have been included in that with, Game Boys and stuff like that, which we did. I mean, I remember there were definitely times we went to, the park with our Game Boy to play Pokemon, trade Pokemon at the park or whatever. But a lot of that, I mean, going way back, we talked about, slip and slides, how that was a really cool thing when it came out. Definitely remember getting multiple of those, get ruined in one summer, get another sort of thing like that the next summer, different outdoors activities. We would always get themed cornhole boards.
Oh wow.
Yeah, different themed ones. I remember at one point it was
when did you get cornhole stuff? Was that recent? Did you guys always have that?
Oh, we always had. Yeah, that was always a big thing. All of our family, any sort of get-togethers, cornhole was always an option.
Yeah, see, up until the last 10 years, cornhole was not a thing around here. And when somebody first started bringing up cornhole, it was really confusing. I can tell you that.
Cause my uncle used to make them, make the boards and make the bags.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with actual corn, too. It is called cornhole, but, legitimately made them like that. And that was always, an outdoor game at all get-togethers. Every summer get-together, we just had cornhole out at our get-together 2 weeks ago. I mean, for instance, so our family get-together. It's at every family get-together, and it's something I enjoy playing. I think it's fun. I think it's pretty fun. You got to find something to do out there with the family. It's pretty boring chatting with most of them.
Yeah, I mean, it also could depend on where you live. So, if somebody like you who lives more in the country, something like that, see,
yeah,
I grew up in the city and we didn't have cornhole. It was like street baseball, street hockey, street basketball, street football. Basically everything in the street because we didn't have big farmland or anywhere to any grass pretty much to do anything.
For a lot of summers, we had a basketball hoop. I don't think you could probably... I mean, I guess you could sort of get away with this now, but kind of not because, kids shouldn't be playing in the street. But, and even Mark and local friends came over and we had a basketball hoop in our street. A pretty active street, cars are coming by, just playing in the street like that. Most places would have a basketball court for the kids to play on. I certainly know I wouldn't let my daughter play basketball in the street where cars are coming and going frequently. But Hey, it was different times.
Yeah, I did move my basketball hoop from, my kids would always put it to the street. My son would try to go into the street and play.
Because it's cooler to play in the it's cooler. You think it's cooler as a kid. Let me play where cars come and go.
Yeah, I thought it was more of an issue with like our driveway's kind of an angle. And like,
yeah, that makes sense.
He would have it set up in the driveway and it would kind of tip over because he wouldn't, have it filled with water or any weights in it and stuff like that. And I was getting kind of sick and tired of putting it to like the end of the driveway and facing it towards the house.
Yeah.
Because even still, like it still can go a little bit farther and go into the ball can go in the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have it in the back porch or in the back patio.
It's a good place for it. Let me ask you this: did you ever have a Huffy bike growing up?
Oh yeah.
Huffy, man.
Yeah, Huffy bikes, and then we had like Dynamo.
Yes,
Dynamo.
I remember those. Yeah.
Dynamo, and like Redline, GT.
I don't know about that one. Not sure on that one.
Yeah, I had a buddy that was really big into like those racing.
The
type
BMX.
Oh yeah, and like some of them he could like pick up with like
the
his
pegs
pinky.
on them.
Oh yeah, that was always fun. Like double people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Always throwing the girl in the back or something.
Yeah, but I had a buddy who had a BMX bike. He had actually had a whole bunch of them, but I remember he had one that was like brand new, still in the box from the 90s, and I think it was absolutely beautiful. It was all chrome, all brand new pieces.
He left it in the box?
Yeah, he bought it, I want to say, probably in like the mid to late 90s, and it was in like new old stock.
Yeah.
And he had this like dream of like starting like his own like bicycle repair thing, and he bought it as like inventory, and then he like sold a bunch of his stuff off, and then over time he still had it, and he just kept it and kept it and kept it.
Interesting. That's pretty cool. Yeah, man. Thinking back to like some summer toys, obviously we talked heavily on like the Super Soakers. So you've got this one here, which was one that came out later that was supposed to be an upgraded version of that.
Yeah, and this is the OG, the Super Soaker 50.
On those occasions when you need to make a big splash, there's the Super Soaker 100. It has a powerful air pressure system.
Oh, Buffy!
A range of up to 60 feet. And a drenching spray. The Super Soaker 100.
It's a water gun of a higher caliber.
Also the 50, or the ultimate, the 200.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you were the bad boy on the street when you had one of these things, for sure.
Yeah, and I remember they, just like this one, they just kept trying to upgrade them. And I mean, those things got, at one point, I think they still make them, right?
Yeah, they
still
do.
Is this like
as far as I know.
actual Super Soaker brand is still around?
They probably sold out to somebody else, because it was like Laramie. They all had like that Laramie.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. And then this one makes this really cool noise.
Yeah, that one still works really well. This one, plunger not so great on it. It still works a little bit. That one actually works really well. I just picked that one up like a couple weeks ago.
Power gauge and all?
Yeah, sure.
So essentially, it doesn't work.
It sprays out water. It works.
Laramie.
Yeah. I know. I picked up the one I just showed us.
95.
The one
what
I just
year
showed.
Is that one, Brandon?
I don't know. I don't know if it has a year.
I apologize. I went right in
For
his
best
eyeball.
performance, pump between shots. Yeah, this doesn't have a year on it. So
this will spray you with 1995 air, that's for sure. It smells like 1995 when it comes out of it.
Yeah, whatever year the first one came out, the original. So
probably like 89, right?
They had a anniversary a few years ago, and like 2 weeks apart from one another, I found both of those at the Goodwill bins. So they were like $1 a piece, per pound. So
That's pretty cool.
I paid like $2 or $3 for them. I found the anniversary one first, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool. It looks like the OG one." 2 weeks later, found the OG one.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, for me, when the Super Soaker was relatively-ish new, because by that point that came out, there was many already when I remember. I remember that specific one because they were still selling it. Don't remember that specific model, but there were tons of them. So Super Soakers were kind of expensive back in the day. And we always got the cheap squirt guns from like Dollar General and like Dollar Tree. And it was a long time before we got like an actual Super Soaker branded gun. And I want to say it was from a yard sale.
Yeah. We got them from Odd Lots a lot and places like that with the cheap stuff.
Yeah, same here. Back when it was called Odd Lots.
Yeah.
Big Lots
Odd
now.
Lots.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still Odd Lots to me.
For years I said that. Now I think I've finally gotten the Big Lots landed in, but yeah, I mean those were always cool. What was the company that did the original Slip and Slide? Do you remember? Was it also? I don't think it was also that company.
No, but I do remember the commercials for sure.
I do too.
Crazy.
You get wet on Slip and Slide. You get cool, it's a long wet ride. And you're hot on a Slip and Slide. Slip and slide. First you stride, then you glide, then you slide, 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 and get wet. Slip and slide.
The original Slip and Slide, and now the new Slip and Splash from Whammo.
Because they end up coming out with all kinds of different ones. I mean, you had the ones obviously where they sprayed like over, so like the ones that just sprayed underneath or did like all kinds of.
I got one for you. Do you remember Crocodile Mile?
Yes, I do.
So where it's like the slip and slide and you go in the crocodile mouth.
Yep, I remember that.
Yeah,
one.
so
very well.
That one was really cool. I never got that one as a kid.
There was a hippo one too. That was
like a Hungry Hippo theme.
Yeah, it was
like
something like that along those lines.
Yeah, I always wanted that one for sure. And I remember like my babysitter, she had one, and I think we got to use it once, but I do remember setup at least once. So the Crocodile Mile was always something.
Got to use it.
But I did get to see the box in her basement all the time. Like, you know, all the time I would see that thing boxed up because she would. One thing with my babysitter was that she had two kids that were a little bit older than me, and they would keep their toys in immaculate condition. They would like literally play with their toys and put them back in the box and then like store them in the basement.
Man, those are some scary kids when they do that.
Oh no, I think it was more of the mom and dad were just so anal about their
watch
toys.
Those kids become.
Oh, it was crazy because like they had like GI Joes, like and they had like the planes and things like that.
Like 3 1/4 scale GI Joe stuff.
Like the
small one.
Yeah, the small one. So like they had like every one of them that was in the box, all the airplanes and things like that, and they would play with them and they put them right back in the box, and they looked really good on the shelf. And I remember as a kid, just sitting there staring at them, and we would like play around and act like like we'd play house and stuff like that with all the kids and stuff. We'd play like we literally would play like we were playing a toy shop because they had so many toys in that area. And I remember we played with them so much that I remember as a kid, like as an adult, going to like video game and toy shows.
Yeah.
And seeing some of these like airplanes and stuff like that. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember, this airplane and there was two of them. So they would there was two kids. So they would every time that they would get a toy, they would get two of them. So a lot of times, I guess with these airplanes, they would get like one of each model. And I remember I would go to the toy show and I'd point it out. I'm like, yeah, I remember this one, and I also remember it in silver. Or I remember the silver one with like the tiger stripes, and they go, yeah, well that was both the ones that they had, and then a lot of times they would tell me like one was super rare or something like that, and they'd be like, oh, this was like a test market one, and they're like, yeah, did you know the test market was like in Cincinnati and Central Ohio and stuff? I was like, oh crap. Yeah. My babysitter's kid had just tons of really rare ones.
GI Joe, so right, the black and the gray planes,
There was like all kinds of different ones. They had like. It was during the era of the USS Flag.
Yep, it's still a grail for me. One day I will finally get a flag, but...
Cobra makes my blood boil. They're biting back with that new Cobra Fang.
Cobra!
Cobra fangs a jet flying past it low, and a fighting cops are out hunting for Joe. There's Destro's Razorback. Razor sharp and hog wild. When Destro's Razorback gets Joe in sight, it rises up and starts to fight. But nobody beats G.I. Joe, a real American hero.
Get Joe and Cobra microfigures free in specially marked packages.
Yo, Joe!
Yeah, between, like, because I went to, at my babysitter's house, it was like probably 6 kids my age. And so each of us would get different things. And between all of us, we probably had every single G.I. Joe at least one, if not 2 times over.
That's crazy.
Like, we would do the mail-aways. Like, the Sergeant Slaughter mail-away.
I did mail-aways.
William the Refrigerator Perry mail-away. Stuff like that. That was like, we were outside in the summertime playing G.I. Joes all the time. Like, did you ever do, like, with, like, the dirt mounds and things like that?
Yeah. We had G.I. Joe kind of made you get a little more creative because it wasn't something like a robot or something like, you know what I mean? It took a while for G.I. Joe to kind of get a little more sillier and sillier with stuff. But I feel like we always had to get more creative with G.I. Joe than anything. So yeah, doing stuff like that for sure.
And the fact that they had the vehicles, like the cars, the trucks, the motorcycles, the stuff that was
got made fun of.
stuff.
I remember getting made fun of for G.I. Joes for a while because it wasn't really getting cool anymore.
Yeah.
By that, you know what I mean? Like at prime G.I. Joe, 86 to 89, maybe 90. Like it was, I had a lot of, like for prime Joe time, and I love G.I. Joe. It's one of my favorite franchises ever. But yeah, I mean, it was just not as cool.
Yeah.
There wasn't something currently on TV that was new. So like, Transformers kept getting stuff. But yeah,
Joe kind of died off when that cartoon kind of died off a little bit. And
yeah, it definitely did.
I would push it to like 91, 92, but yeah, for sure. Like, it was like out with G.I. Joe and in with Turtles, it kind of felt like. Towards the end of the 80s.
Even though, Turtles was there then,
Yeah,
Turtles was there at that point in time, but there was definitely a shift. I agree. Turtles was cooler. Even Transformers was still cooler at that period of time. Well, actually, it was very cool then. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely had shifted for sure. Yeah, I think that as far as like some other like summer sort of stuff, a lot of skateboarding.
Yeah.
They came a little later, so this would have been past all the stuff we were doing with this. But a lot of skateboarding, and if we're talking still the same era of like Super Soakers, Nerf guns.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, talk about something that's still popular to this day.
I know, isn't that crazy? Like that brand is apparently still very live and well.
Yeah, my son for a long time was playing like videos of guys that do competitive Nerf.
Yes. Yeah.
They modify their guns to like fire faster, more accurately, and just like it's a little absurd.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, and I know like about a year or two ago when I was like getting back into like video games and reselling stuff to kind of buy video games, one of the first things I sold a lot of stuff of was Nerf.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I mean, I know like for my nephew, like he had a period just a few years ago where Nerf was like super cool. Like people were heavily collecting. He would be happy to get a giant 500 pack or whatever it was of Nerf bullets, and like Nerf has shifted to, like a bunch of different stuff. You remember when they went to like the footballs and like the I don't know what you would call the ones with the spiral, had the
Vortex.
Yeah. So like those.
Yeah, John Elway was like the spokesman for it, and I remember it was like I have one somewhere for sure, like an original Vortex football, but I think they still make them.
Oh, I did. They have a whole Nerf aisle still, like at Walmart. Still, like
they do. They really do.
Still have a whole Nerf section. And it's shocking to me that brand has stayed around as much as it has, considering kids don't go outside the same that they have. I mean, look, there was even a resurgence with Nerf there for a while. People doing like those prank videos with like Nerf guns, and like there was that sort of stuff going on YouTube. And I feel like that might have been, like sort of a cause of like the resurgence, or maybe Nerf never really went away. But I mean, I just know I found out about it being talked about again because of my nephew. Like I had no idea it was so, haven't seen a commercial in ages because I haven't had cable TV in a long time, so I wouldn't know that it's like, still heavily being promoted outside of YouTube or, knowing.
There was even like
some of the younger audience.
Did you see all the Fortnite stuff that they had?
Yeah, there's Fortnite Nerf, and there still is, I think. I'm pretty sure
ton.
I just saw one at Walmart not that long ago.
Yeah, one of the things I like about the Nerf stuff is
Halo Nerf stuff.
That like my son like could play with guns outside, and I could feel safe because I don't really feel comfortable with him playing with like
airsoft,
like the toy guns that we had growing up. Even though they had like an orange tip,
they don't even make that sort of stuff anymore.
They make a lot of stuff that's pretty close. Yeah, for sure.
You can still buy. I mean, airsoft has a big market still. And there's some of that targeted at kids, but definitely not in the kids' aisle.
Yeah, but like
I don't know. Do they? I haven't seen anything
the commando
like
style guns. Oh yeah, the ones that are like kind of like
Rambo stuff.
Yeah, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but that's like, I don't know, man.
I like him to be.
I don't
big
know
and
that I would
comical.
feel uncomfortable, but you're more in the city-ish area. You're like somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Like the city, more than I am. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Like I would feel comfortable with her running around probably the whole neighborhood with something like that. But versus you are a little bit closer to the more urban sort of areas and maybe not as good of an idea.
Yeah.
But I mean, what about airsoft? Do you ever get into airsoft? Because we definitely got into that probably around like the age of like, I want to say like for us it was like 10 to 12, maybe younger than like somebody should be playing airsoft, but. Hey, you know, it's all a decision of the parent.
I never got into airsoft, really. We kind of did a little bit of pellets and BBs and stuff like that because...
tons of BB guns.
I was more of a paintball fan, for sure.
I loved paintball, too. Yeah, that's a whole other... Speaking of BB guns, let me tell you about this. This is something I would definitely feel uncomfortable with. I had a BB gun given to me by my uncle that looked exactly like a 9mm.
Gotten to Miss Shields. There could be no other explanation.
You'll shoot your eye out! You'll shoot your eye out!
Was there no end to this?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Felt like one, too.
Yeah.
It was heavy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's pretty
Like,
scary.
I think I remember first thinking that was a real gun.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, and if you think it is, then everybody else does. So.
Yeah, exactly. So that was crazy.
Yeah.
But this was, you know, and I'm sure, I don't know because it's not around anymore. But I would imagine that was probably made sometime in like the late 80s, early 90s, maybe it was later, but it definitely wasn't that much later because it was.
I mean, they're still.
I had my hands on that by 7.
They're still making stuff like that. Daisy even still makes one that's similar, and I know my son got into like airsoft videos.
Is Daisy still around?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
My son.
You'll shoot your eye out.
My son was watching airsoft videos.
No, that wasn't Daisy. What brand was that?
Red Rider.
Red Rider. Yeah.
I think it's Daisy Red Rider.
Yeah. Okay. It is. Yeah.
My son was watching videos of like airsoft and stuff like that. They have guys that are out there that are like modifying like legit rifles and stuff like that. Like M1
yeah, but that's
Rams.
custom stuff. I meant like store.
Yeah.
And those are
going out
adults.
playing airsoft and stuff. They're like in their mid-teens and late 20s and stuff. But
I
like,
would have did that as a teen too.
But it's kind of cool because they're literally going back and they're getting these like World War II rifles, and then like making them into airsoft and they're playing airsoft with them.
De-shelling it and putting some innards in there.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like an old antique thing that they're going out and it's like
and destroying and putting.
Yeah.
It is kind of destroying it, right?
It is 100% destroying it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But I was definitely. So, did you play any paintball growing up?
Yes, did play paintball. I actually, church group that I was involved with as a kid had a whole paintball field at their church, and did regular paintball outings. So
nice.
Yeah.
I played a lot of paintball. Did you play like with like the bunkers?
I played in Columbus. Yeah, I played
the
bunkers in Columbus
nice.
somewhere. Yeah, those were cool. That was fun. That was really fun.
Yeah, I started playing paintball when I was 16 years old, and then we were like signing contracts before we were 18
NPL.
for sponsorship. Yeah, NPPL, I believe it was.
Okay.
Was one of the leagues that we ended up going
into.
But it was like early on when I think that league was just forming, and around that time there ended up being 2 leagues. But when we first started playing paintball, we were in tournaments and everything was in like. Amateur level was like the highest. There was no pro technically.
Huh.
I was around when there was this guy named Chris Lasoya. He became the first $1 million paintball player, which was he got $1 million in endorsements and things like that. And it was like there wasn't a ton of people that were playing professionally to the point where they didn't have to work other jobs.
Yeah.
And so I remember it was like a big deal in the groups of people when people started actually being able to quit and things like that. But it was still early on to where they're like, I remember you'd have people like, because there was a few video games that came out.
You got one for the original Xbox.
And then it came
Dreamcast.
out like, yeah.
Dreamcast
and then
has one.
Wii and 360 and PlayStation. And so that guy, Greg Hastings, his nickname was Red. And I remember there was like a whole bunch of people that were in his games that still worked at like regular jobs.
I believe that, yeah.
And things like that.
I mean, it sounds like other things. I mean, that sounds like, skateboarding sponsorships of people that I knew very heavily that all got sponsored, or like, were actually, I knew somebody that rode in the X Games. Like, there was tons of stuff. There were tons of that you still had to work. It wasn't enough. Wrestling, I mean, there's people that did,
like wrestling, real jobs.
They still have to work like real full-time jobs. It's not enough.
Yeah, thankfully some of those careers have like gone a little bit, it's where they can make a little bit of money, it's where they don't have to actually have other jobs.
Or if
like
you
that.
Didn't, a lot of them gave up unfortunately, with a lot of that stuff. Growing up and all that.
Yeah, growing up kind of sucks sometimes.
It's a bummer. It's a real bummer.
Summertime isn't as great as it used to be, for sure. I know one of the good things about having kids is like I get to relive some of that stuff. It's also one of the negatives about having kids. They it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Summertime activities, like I have a pool, and sounds like a great idea.
So you gotta pay for it. You gotta pay to manage that son of a gun, and you have to actually manage it.
That's the problem.
Every day,
all the time, every single day. Thankfully, I work from home.
A whole other pet.
So I get to take one of my breaks in the summertime is dedicated to the pool. I work from home, so like every single day, at least if not my lunch, one of my 10-minute breaks is me going out there and hooking up the like pool cleaner, or skimming it, or making sure the pumps are running, or checking the levels, or doing all this sort of stuff. I don't know if I spent any time in the pool myself last year. I haven't this year at all.
Yeah, I've been in once, so.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for not a lot of payoff, it feels like.
Yeah.
But I'm doing it for...
You're doing it for the kids.
I'm doing it for like in 20 years from now, that my kids will be on some weird podcast talking about like,
managing a pool
the summer
for their kids. Or my dad managed a pool for me.
One of my favorite summer toys was my pool growing up that, was always awesome, that my dad always bust his butt for.
Yeah. Right, we want to think that, but that'll never happen. Their memories are not going to be, my dad used to take care of that pool I swam in.
So the worst part, too, was, like, the timing of that pool.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so a couple years ago, I had one of those, like, larger inflatable pools.
Oh, yeah.
And they're not bad.
They're not bad till they get them damn holes.
Which happens all the time, especially when you have a dog. But, so I even had a dog, went through, and it was fine. Had it had 1 year, everything was great. Second year... It was time to tear the thing down and like put it away for the season, and it's a lot of work. And it's like you want to just keep the pool out.
You do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, and so like my brother was living with me at the time, and he convinced me that he's like, just throw it away, just put a knife in it, throw it in the trash. Next year, get one of the bigger, nicer pools. So, like, the upgrade between the pool I had, and it was like $150, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice, like 12 foot, like 4 foot tall. It was only like $150. The next step up was like $250 for like a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Not too much. Maybe they were $300. Well, COVID happened. The year that I needed to buy a pool.
That was horrible. Couldn't get any pool supplies. Couldn't get any chlorine. It was overpriced. You had to buy it on eBay.
You couldn't even buy pools. Like,
you couldn't even buy pools.
I literally was like...
People were scalping those on eBay, literally.
Oh, I know. I bought one.
Yeah. You bought one on eBay?
I think so. I don't remember.
Oh, God.
They were selling on eBay. They were selling on eBay like in seconds.
Yes, I know. I literally, people... So, my buddy worked for Walmart distribution. Literally, people were calling the Walmart stores, because his wife worked at a store, to scoop up them to sell them. Every pool. All the pools. And you couldn't even get kiddie pools. Yeah. We've been out of the market for that, but you couldn't even get those.
$800 or $900.
Yeah, I believe it.
The pools that were $300 were like $900 like a year later. Like, in no freaking time because of COVID, and the prices went up. And I was literally stuck with having to pay like $900 for a pool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was insane. So I'm going to ride this thing till I die. I swear. I'm going to be buried in that pool. Because not only that, but I had to like do all the work of like leveling the ground and things like that, and it's still not right. I mean, it's still off like an inch or whatever, and it's like, good enough.
It is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, my kids get to like be in the pool. They get to like have their friends over, so it's like kind of a social thing. They get to spend time with one another, so it's like I force my kids out there all the time.
Yeah.
My kids, they spend a lot of time together for sure, and so my son especially can get a little annoyed of his sister, and it's pretty funny when I'm just like forcing him out the door to like, you have to have fun, you have to get in the pool, you have to hang out with your sister.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now that was always fun. We didn't have a pool growing up, but we always did, like pool days. It would be like a whole outing, like a thing that we would do. Yeah, I definitely think. So did you ever get into skateboarding?
Not as much as I was into rollerblading.
Oh, okay.
And either way, I kind of sucked at both, and it was a short-lived time.
Gotcha.
I just didn't have the ankles, and I was getting hurt all the time. And I played sports, and I couldn't risk, like, I was falling down all the time. And like first thing I would do is I'd like put my wrist down, and I would like sprain my wrist.
Yep. Can't do that.
My ankles were like, I got little tiny ankles, so I was constantly rolling my ankles. So I'm like walking around with like my wrists all jacked up, my ankles all jacked up, and it's like you really can't do much when it's like rollerblading and roller skating kind of require both of those things.
Yeah, I never rollerbladed. Went to a skating rink. It's not quite the same thing, but I never rollerbladed. I was always curious, especially after I played like Jet Set Radio. I was always kind of curious, but there was something that was like off-putting to rollerblading for me. Skateboarding was fun.
Yeah, those
were good days.
I was real big into like the Mighty Ducks.
So, I loved Mighty Ducks.
So I was
cartoon movies, both.
Oh yeah, the movies especially. But it was like that's what got me into hockey, and so I played ice hockey. But where I'm from in the city in Columbus, in the early '90s, we didn't have a professional team, so there wasn't a lot of ice hockey rinks around here. So we had mostly roller skating rinks, and we had roller hockey. Yeah. So I played a ton of roller hockey.
Did you do like roller derby too?
No, I didn't get to do roller derby. No, I had a good friend though that did it.
It sounds like a terrible time to me.
Yeah, she did.
I knew a girl that really loved it, but not for me.
Yeah, I went to it a few times.
It's
it was
crazy.
Just a ton of fun, and I got out there a couple times with them. Just like, and they abused the living crap out of me because they wanted to show me how rough it was, and it was like they did it on purpose. For real, they did it on purpose.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a very good time to me to hop in there. It's fun to watch, but I don't know about the doing it.
I'll remember it forever. It was the best time.
That's wild.
But yeah, we played a lot of like roller hockey, so it was like a lot of blading going on there. And like if you ever remember the Mighty Ducks movie, how they're like inline skating, we would do. We were like, we gotta do that too, and we were falling down the steps, things like that. A couple movies that were kind of instrumental from back in the day were just like convincing us to put on rollerblades to fall down the steps.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. It was always fun. Like, a lot of that stuff you just kind of had to make up the fun too. You know what I mean? With all of it, and like I feel like that's kind of the charm that has been lost a lot because it's just not to sound like boomer or anything, but it just isn't quite it isn't quite the same because it doesn't really have to be for kids now. Like the imagination doesn't all have to be there anymore.
Yeah, they're sitting around on their phones and on YouTube or like playing video games, playing on the Oculus.
Well, I mean, even my experience, I know you have a son too, but for me, like, that's hard to even do. I can't even get my daughter to play video games. She's cool with just watching YouTube. And, I mean, like, she plays, like, Roblox, but it's not quite the same thing. A little bit of Minecraft, but it's mostly Roblox. But what she enjoys more than playing it now is watching it.
Yeah. You say that now. Wait. It's coming. I said that, too, with my daughter. I was just like, I remember being like, man, I really wish my daughter would really kind of get into video games. Especially my son. Yeah, I know.
It's been years of trying. Like, it's been there, here and there, but...
My daughter just started probably this year. So...
What's she playing?
She plays, let's see here, the Switch sometimes. But she was only playing the Switch at her mom's house for some reason.
Yeah, she wants to. She plays. She does play a few other things here and there, but it's all on her tablet. And it's like not like real games. Like Roblox, I would say is the most like video gamey. She plays this other stuff called like Toka something. Like these weird app games. They're like don't feel like games to me.
Yeah, my son is mostly playing on the Oculus. Same with my daughter.
Really?
You're playing on the Oculus.
Now that scares me a little. That Oculus stuff scares me a little bit.
Does
with
it?
Kids. Yeah, I feel like for me, I feel like it's got to be a heavy limit if she wants to get into that, because that feels like it's distorting a little too much. Like I feel like you probably should have gave him like a Virtual Boy first or something.
Yeah.
But like a year of this, then we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll ease them into it. We'll go to the Virtual Boy and then we'll go like the R Zone. Maybe.
Oh yeah, gotta have an R Zone in there for sure, 100%.
I don't know. Maybe upgrade in a few years to get that weird Google thing, and then just like, man, that thing looks weird. Those goggles that just go over the new Google. Have you seen those?
What is it?
Oh man, is it Google VR?
I've never heard of that. I know Apple's doing the new,
Apple,
but that's like
Apple VR.
That's like mixed reality too. So it's like
yeah,
got the AR, which is I think it's cool. It's less of being inside something, more of stuff and being around what you already see.
It's like those giant Willy Wonka eyes.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. Speaking of which, totally off topic, but have you seen those new Switch glasses YouTubers are doing a video on, where it's not just for the Switch, but they're sending it to like Nintendo YouTubers, and all they are is they just project the TV. You can have it like up to 80 inches, fill up your entire room.
Yeah, I want that.
Yeah, dude, I literally don't even have to worry about the TV. Just throw those on, you're good.
Huh.
See it full screen.
Huh.
Yeah, like you're in a theater. Like they're pretty nuts, and they're semi-affordable. They're like $200.
Yeah,
like,
I would like to have
make everything full screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty freaking cool. Totally off topic, but
you pretty much don't need like a TV in your bedroom, though.
Yeah, I mean that's the kind of the purpose. Yeah, like you play it anywhere. I mean, there's like a lot of uses, airplanes, but literally, if you just want to sit on your couch, somebody's watching TV, throw those on, get a little 15-minute game session in. I think they're pretty cool, but yeah, man, first good podcast episode. I think I like it.
Yeah,
I dig the vibe.
Bad.
I think it's cool. It's a different sort of experience for like us, and I think people watching that might get a little more of a inside kind of look at.
Yeah, we just have to work out the logistics a little bit more, figuring out where everything kind of goes and how we're going to record, and I think we've got a good idea of what's going to happen, so that's good.
Yeah, I think so too. So we appreciate everybody watching, and we'll be back soon with episode 3, right?
Absolutely.
I think we're talking VHS. VHS next?
Yeah, be kind.
Rewind. Oh, I went to go turn it off with my watch.